back to the video, and in today's video, we're ranking every single NBA team based on how well they did this season. This is not based on their record. This is how well they performed from their early season standards. So, for example, the Warriors, they were champions last year, and then they get eliminated in the second round. So they're going to be underperformed. That's pretty much the thing, is how they did to what they were expected to do at the start of the season. Let's get straight into the video. But before we get to the video, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel because we are almost at 600 subscribers and we are posting daily bangers. So if you are new and you like the content, please sure to subscribe. And also, let's give a shout out to the people who watch my videos and the shorts because I really do appreciate it and it helps me out a ton. The first team we got is the Orlando Magic. They performed as I expected. Didn't expect them to be good this year. I expected Paolo to be the Rookie of the Year, and he was, which was good. Paolo played great, and they have some young talent, but as a team, they did not play good at all. Next up, be the Dallas Mavericks. They underperformed. The talent that they have, especially getting Kyrie Irving as well, and having Luka and Kyrie and just not making the playoffs, is just very, very disappointing, especially how they finished the season off. They just looked sluggish, and I know it's not Luka or Kyrie's fault. They just need more depth. I don't think that Kyrie trade really helped them out with depth too much. They just went for star power, and yeah, they super underperformed. I mean, not even a playoff team is a yikes. Next with Denver Nuggets, they overperformed. If you win the championship, you're going to overperform. Yes, they were probably considered a contender at the start of the year. They still won the whole thing, though, so you have to give them credit and just say they overperformed. Jokic had another MVP type year, and he could have gotten that. I think he kind of got snubbed for it, whatever. But also, he went crazy in the playoffs. Jamal Murray was finally healthy. MPJ, Aaron Gordon, they deserved it, and they definitely overperformed. Next to the Detroit Pistons, yeah, performed as I expected. Did not expect them to be good. I did like their rookie class that they got with Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey, but you couldn't really expect them to be that top, a play-in or even a playoff team with the players that they have on their team currently. So I think they performed as I expected. I didn't expect them to be too good. Next to the New Orleans Pelicans, this is kind of hard for me. Like, they made the playoffs, but they got. Wait, did they even make the playoffs? Hold up. No, because it was the Thunder, Nuggets, Clippers, Suns, Kings, Warriors, and Grizzlies, Lakers. No, they must have missed it out. They must have missed it in the plan. If they did, I expect them to be a playoff team, so I'm gonna say they underperformed. Zion was quite healthy this year, and he was not healthy this year, and it just sucks because his talent is so high, but he never gets to play on the court, so you can't rate him too highly. Brandon Ingram had a decent year, CJ McCollum, but overall, they don't have a lot of great defense, and losing Zion for most of the year really hurt their chances, so they underperformed. Next to the Brooklyn Nets, this is low-key hard, but it's kind of hard because, yes, midway through the season, they got rid of Kyrie and KD. I'm going to say they underperformed just because with Kyrie and KD at the start of the year, they were expected to be really, really high, and they got rid of them. But they still made the playoffs. They still made the Sixers-Nets series a little bit interesting, and Mikal Bridges was on fire at the end of the year. So they underperformed based on their standards, but what they got in return for KD and Kyrie actually might work out in the long run. Next up, we had the Atlanta Hawks. They underperformed. I expect them to be at least a playoff team. They were a playoff team, but then they get bounced by the Celtics in, and six, actually. So, actually, I'm going to say they performed as I expected. I'm wrong. Looking back at it, I didn't expect them. I expected them to be a playoff team. I didn't expect them to be insane, though, in the playoffs. So, I think they performed as I expected. Yeah, it's a fair point to consider. Next is the Indiana Pacers. I'm going to say they performed as I expected. I really like the talent that they have over there with Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, Bennett Mathurin, but obviously they're young. They still don't have time to develop, and they don't really have that star power yet besides Tyrese Halliburton. So for now, I'm going to say they performed as I expected, even though I think they have a lot of potential in the oncoming future. Next up, the Timberwolves. I'm going to say they underperformed. And this is not based on the record. This is based on how they ended the season. Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert, when Rudy Gobert took not even a swing, a push, that kind of created, when Jalen Daniels broke his hand from getting mad at the end of the game, the team kind of collapsed at the end of the year. And although they kind of made the series between them and the Wait, they played. Yeah, between them and the Nuggets, it wasn't that close though. It wasn't. It just wasn't. Next up, we have the New York Knicks. They overperformed. I thought they were going to be okay. I thought maybe they were going to be playing. I didn't expect them to be in the playoffs and be such a surefire thing in the playoffs. Not only did they win the first round, they almost won the second round. And you really didn't expect Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle to play so well together, but yet they did. And the Knicks really were surprising. They had a great season. And the 5 seed as well is crazy. Next with the Cavaliers, I'm going to say overperformed. Yes, I know their playoff was not good, but they got Donovan Mitchell and they played great. They were the 4 seed. They played great all year. They had a couple of injuries which kind of set them back, but I think this is a team that's going to look really, really good in the future. And although you can maybe say they underperformed because of their playoff run, I still really like the pieces that they have, so I'm going to say they overperformed. Next in Miami Heat, this one's very simple. They overperformed. Did you really expect a play-in team to make the finals? No. Do you expect the 8 seed to make the finals? No, but yet they did it, and they didn't make it a series, but at the end of the day, playoff Jimmy was there, and that's an easy overperform in my opinion. Next, we had the Wizards. Yeah, they performed as I expected. Horrible. One of the worst teams in the league. Not much to say about that. There's no talent there except for Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis, and I don't like the direction that their team is heading. Next, to the Toronto Raptors, they underperformed. Didn't even make the playoffs. They were in the play-in, and with the roster and the depth that they have on their team, you really expect them to be a first playoff thing, and they just weren't able to show it. Next up, we have my Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry, I know my Warriors, and I gotta say that we underperformed. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, the Draymond Jordan Poole incident at the start of the season did not help us one bit. Really hurt our chemistry and did not start the season off on a good note. We also won the finals last year, so we had a pretty big expectation going into it that we were going to be contenders, and we were very very mid throughout the season, only finishing with the 6 seed. And I know we beat the Kings, which is good. Then we get blown out by the Lakers, though. So realistically, we definitely underperformed, especially from being the champs to being second rounded. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz. I'm gonna say performed as I expected when they got rid of Donovan Mitchell because you kind of knew they were going to be good. But I will get some shots though. Larry Markkinen had an insanely good year, most improved player in my opinion, and he played great. He was an all-star, but the team also didn't play that good, so you can't really rate him too highly, even though they weren't horrible. Next up, we had the Houston Rockets. They performed as I expected, not good at all. And there's not really much to say about that. They're just not that good of a team. They're too young. They don't have any veteran leadership. They don't have any star power, and they're just not ready to be a playoff team yet. Next up is the Sacramento Kings. They big overperformed. Did you expect them to be the third team in the Western Conference? I don't care if they lost in the first round. The fact that had like the best offense in the NBA, they had two All-Stars in De'Aaron Fox who had a breakout year, Sabonis who played great right beside Fox, and a bunch of good role players like Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and Malik Monk step up in big situations. They definitely overperformed. I mean, I was expecting them to be at the most a play-in team, and they ended up being the 3 seed. So yeah, they definitely overperformed. Next up, with the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm gonna say overperformed. Yes, you didn't make the playoffs, but you made the play-in. Didn't expect that. And was an All NBA first team player. Josh Giddey was playing a great role player, and now you still have Chet, who didn't even play last year. Imagine Chet being good and playing with that team. They're going to be a lot better. Shea was playing great, and their team is playing great. They definitely overperformed, even though they didn't make the playoffs. Next to the Milwaukee Bucks, I gotta say it, they underperformed. And this is not even based on their regular season. They were the best team in the NBA in the regular season. The second best. I don't know what the record was, but they were the best team in the East, I believe. Yeah, they were the best team in the East, and they still managed to lose in 4 games against the Heat. They got swept, and I know Giannis was out, but come on, you can't get swept. And they really, really struggled. And honestly, for a team of that contender, to a team that was a for sure thing that they were going to make the NBA Finals, or at least the NBA Conference Finals, and get swept in the first round, they definitely underperformed. Next to the Portland Trailblazers, I'm going to say performed as I expected. I didn't expect them to be absolutely insane, but it was really nice to see Damian Lillard have a pretty healthy year. and seeing him really go off again was very, very nice. But again, the team as itself, they just need another piece to bring it together for Dame. So I think they performed as I expected. Next up is the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm gonna say they performed as I they underperformed honestly. They performed as I expected because I kind of expected Kawhi or Paul George to get injured throughout the year, and they kind of did, and that's kind of what drove their record to be not amazing. I mean, the seven, wait, was it the 7 or 6 seed? It was the 7 seed, and it wasn't their fault. It was just they got injuries and injuries and injuries. I didn't expect their playoff position to be that good, and then facing the Suns, you kind of expect them to lose. So I think they performed as I expected. It's unfortunate that Kawhi and Paul George always have to get injured, though. Mostly Kawhi. Next week, the Hornets performed as I expected. Complete terrible. I mean, LaMelo was injured, and your team is horrible. Not much to talk about there. The Hornets suck. Next up, the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm saying to say they overperformed. Not only did they come in at the 7 seed, which honestly, that's the part I expected. I didn't expect them to be a top end playoff team. But when you got LBJ and Anthony Davis, you never know. So, first of all, they take on the Grizzlies, destroy them. Take on the Warriors, destroy them. I know that they got lost in 4 to the Nuggets, but seeing a 7 seed go to the conference finals is pretty unheard of. So you have to say they overperformed, especially in my standards, because I'm kind of a Lakers hater. Next up with the San Antonio Spurs performance I expected. They wanted to tank for Wembanyama, and they're going to get it. Simple as that. Their team's going to be a lot better next year, but they performed as I expected because they were trying to tank. Next up, we had the Memphis Grizzlies, underperformed. Reasons why is because the whole John Morant thing with the whole John Morant not scandal, but like the whole John Morant off the field, off the court thing was a big deal. Dylan Brooks was also a big deal. Their team just doesn't look like they have much chemistry, and they don't really want to play. And they lost the first round as being a 2 seed, so they underperformed in my opinion. Next to the Chicago Bulls, I think they underperformed. Yeah, I think I was expecting them to be a playoff team, and they ended up being a play-in and then losing in the play-in. So, yeah, they underperformed in my opinion because I think they could have been a lot better. Next, we have Philadelphia and 76ers. I'm going to say overperformed. I know that they weren't insane. I mean, they lost in the second round, but you got an MVP on your team. James Harden was playing pretty good. Tyrese Maxey has been evolving into a great player. And you're really seeing the 76ers actually become an organization that is a good team to watch. And although they had high expectations, having the MVP on your team and having the 3 seed and making it to the second round is a decent accomplishment. Next up, we have the Phoenix Suns. I'm gonna say they performed. This is actually close because if I think about, they got KD. They kind of underperformed with KD because he was not good, but they still had an insanely good record, and they were the 3 seed in the West. So I think not even not the 3 seed, the freaking they were were they the 4 seed or were they the 2 seed? No, yeah, they were the 2 seed. They were the 2 seed. They performed as I expected, not because of it's more the playoff position and not because of KD. Because when KD got there, they were horrendous and they underperformed. But as a season overall, they performed as I expected. Next up is the Boston Celtics in the final team. They underperformed. And this is just me because I had the Celtics win the whole thing this year. I had the Celtics win the NBA Finals, and they got. I mean, I'm sorry, but they got crushed by the Miami Heat. I don't care if it went to a Game 7. I don't care if they came back. They got crushed by them, and every single series seemed to be super super close with them. Even letting the Hawks take 2 games. So yeah, they underperformed because they could have done a lot better, and I expected them to be the NBA Finals champion, and obviously they weren't. And that's the end of my video of ranking every NBA team based on how well they did this season, overperformed, as I expected, underperformed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to lay a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!